So Nitanshi, next topic I have in my mind is about startups, right? Startups have certain pressures running on them. It is about getting the product right. It is about getting the market right. Somewhere this product market fit is on top of their mind. And we are talking about the early stage startups, right?
Yeah.
So these startups are always in that dilemma, how exactly and where to put the money. Should they bring a salesperson so that they start seeing the revenue uptick? Or should they invest in marketing to kind of create that top of the funnel, which can be converted by the founder themselves, right? So tell us a little more about what are your thoughts on how this early stage startup can start setting up their marketing as they go through the initial phases, right? Because marketing is a slow process. It's not
Yes.
instant that you bring a salesperson and 2 months he gives a closure. It doesn't work that way.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts?
See, for bootstrap companies or companies who just started, if the first step which any company has to take is the product market fit, right? Who are your customers? Knowing them is very, very important. So don't rush for it. If you rush for it, then you are kind of, end up spending a lot of money on targeting people, even with your sales also, or inside sales team also, even if you put one or two people into that, you will end up targeting people who will not respond, right? Or you might get conversions, but that conversion rate would be very, very low. So to get that, I think the first point is product market fit, finding the right customer, right space where, and even from your competitors' standpoint, you will have to see where I want to fit myself, right? There might be competitors in the market, might not be completely out of the box product. So then where do you want to see, which are the people you would want to target? Once that is there, then you start with both your sales and marketing. Marketing, as you said, is a slow process. It cannot generate results on day one or something. So you have to be patient. So what would be generally what I have seen is a work with a few SaaS companies. I've spoken to their founders and all. What I have seen, what works mostly for them is that you generate good content. I always see them, targeting people with good content, and then also placing them at the right point. So if you start doing cold emailing, cold calling, that may not work, right? Because nobody knows you. Why will people respond? But if you are, digital marketing or, internet is quite a good equalizer in that term, because if you have good content, then the chances of people reading your content or interacting with your brand is much, much higher there, right? And it doesn't depend whether a top-notch company is writing that content or somebody else's. You might have lesser number of views, but you might have good quality views coming from it. But the content becomes the king here, right? So I feel that, most of these companies I see are writing very good content. They'll hire a person, maybe even a freelancer at times, who knows that, understands their space well, and they might even go to Upwork and all and get this content right, and then place it at the right points, maybe social media, LinkedIn, and then all these places, and use it for lead generation, and then follow up with, give it to their sales or inside sales team to kind of do the follow-up. That initial phase kind of helps to build. At the same time, I also see these companies doing small events, very, very less expensive event, but very close group events. They'll invite people who are, who would want to listen, right? And at least are ready to test. And demos are a great way of, kind of free demos, all those things kind of help. So this person may not, you might be selling a product or even a service, but at the same time, if you're giving a free demo to somebody who can dabble with your product, who can, feel this, it is a great kickstart kind of. So I think marketing initially has to be, obviously it has to be thrifty. You can't spend a lot of money, but at the same time, I think I call it a $0 marketing, right? And even at enterprise level, it works remarkably. Okay, so I say that $0 marketing works very well. It's not that you have to spend a lot of money. The good part is today we have so much of information, and through information you can attract a lot of people. So focus on that. try to get people to interact with your brand much more, so that when your salespeople person calls, he is able to kind of get to that lead and follow up, create a very seamless mechanism there for a follow up, which is very important, timely follow up. And the last but not the least, I think it is important to it is very important that you keep your data very correct, right? It might feel
Yeah.
at that phase, there's so much happening at startup level, because there are very few people and doing too many things. Not everybody is even an expert in marketing or sales, even for that matter. But even at that point, if you keep yourself true in terms of data, it helps a lot in long term. So if you're not playing a year or a 2 year game, and it is something which you are looking for 5 years, keep your data intact, learn more about your customer, record everything as much as possible, because that will keep giving you insights on what to play on, what is working and what is not working. Test it out. Testing is very, very important. So test it out and see what is working for your brand and what is not.
So would you recommend that these founders of early stage startup, right? They have to focus on the product market fit, take product decisions. So should they look for something like fractional CMO to start with, somebody who can guide them and then set up the marketing slowly as they progress?
Yes, fractional CMOs has become kind of a reality of today's time, right? I mean, obviously, see, marketing, you need people who have got good instinct and good good experience, because marketing runs on people. Same as sales as well. I mean, other functions that you can have, distributed responsibilities, this and that. But marketing, every person counts, right? And every person makes a lot of contribution to which side of things your campaign, or even for that matter, a deal lands. So it is important that invest in good people. So, but because obviously the startups can't invest obviously too much into people, you can't bring people with lot of high paying salary. So fractional CMO, even for that matter, I mean, have agencies. There is no harm in giving work to agencies, hiring 1 or 2 FTEs here with some agency who can do the work. Because as founders, or a person would not know everything, and you can't dabble, right? Don't try to do everything. It doesn't make sense. So having a fractional CMO working with the agencies makes a lot of sense at this level. And in fact, if you get people also, you have to invest in a lot of tech also, right? That in-house tech will be very, very costly. So what is the point? Until you know what exactly your scale is, there's no point in investing that. So I feel that outsourcing marketing, but still having a person who has a very clear, handle of what's happening. Because one thing which I see with agencies is they initially might do a lot of good work, but as you leave that reins and you stop following, then that things start going out of handle. Because obviously it is more like client relationship and all. So it's important that you have someone in-house who keeps a close tab on what's happening. But outsourcing is a very good way of saving money, at the same time scaling your marketing efforts as well.
That's great. This is very interesting conversation. So now we talked about the startups who are at the early stage and who are willing to invest in marketing, wants to create that path to revenue. On the other spectrum, right, we have startups who have seen initial success, who have done, let's say, couple of series of fundings, right? For them also, marketing plays a crucial role, right? This is not about sales. The world has changed. It is not just driven by sales. Post-COVID, definitely it is not the case.
Yeah.
So on the first spectrum, where you are on the early stage, you focus on a fractional CMO and agencies and try to build it out. How does things change when you achieve certain level of revenue, where you are sure of, let's say, 1 year or 2 year run rate, but you want to scale now? You want to have that multiplier, uh, 40, 50, 60% kind of growth running in 1 quarter or 2 quarter kind of targets. So how can you set up marketing at that stage?
Yeah. I think this is the time when you should start investing in right people. right? Because not having the right people, especially in marketing, can be fatal, right? People who don't just know how to do marketing, but also have a futuristic view about the business as well. Because somebody who doesn't understand the business that well, or who doesn't understand the customer pulse on how to read it, how to read the data, how to kind of improvise quickly, right? Those people with those kind of instincts and that kind of character is very, very important. So first thing is that you need the right people. So once you, before you start investing in tech, before you take on the, the plunge into heavy investment into marketing, get the right people in place. May not be too many people, but the right people. That is very, very crucial. Second, I feel is getting, second part would be get the tech in place, right? Because scaling beyond a point just with, outsourcing is very, very difficult. So investing in the right tech, don't over invest, don't go overboard, but know your like what is important to you, because it differs from business to business. Obviously a good CRM tool where you can record every data, every touch point, all that, it becomes very crucial, because at this point, if you're not doing it, then it later on you would regret, because after a certain point in time, it start going out of hand, right? And then you also need something which people miss a lot is change management, right? Because they feel that it's something to, hi-fi and should, what's the need for change management? But I'm a kind of ardent propagator of change management. I feel that as things change in business, when you are scaling, the direction of leadership is changing. The way you are looking at the market, you are trying to now, instead of looking in pockets of customers who you can convert, now you want to go mass, right? You want to, so it requires a change in thinking and a change in the behavior, and that becomes very important. So identify how you can change your sales people and marketing people at the same time to adapt to your change strategy. So change management just doesn't mean that adapting technology or systems. It is also about um, making them understand the market better, right? Why not that, right? So that is equally important. So one is people, tech, and then change management to bring this everybody in sync, because the more your teams are in sync. I see a lot of companies, once they start receiving money, they start overspending. They'll go to, every, especially startups, what I see is they'll start going to a lot of events. They will start overspending, drive on branding and stuff. But everything should be equated to the ROI, right? If you're not going to get lead out of it, it is just the buzz that you're creating, and there's no lead getting created out of it. Even if you're not getting lead, but the buzz is not going to result into not reaching the right customer, then what's the point? You are actually spending dollars on places which will not yield you. So keeping a very close tab on the ROI and yield is very important. You may not be able to directly tie everything to lead or the dollar value, but still find a way of how to quantify stuff, because that is what happens when you start overspending, because you are not able to quantify after a point in time what you're doing. So that is very, very important. Very close tab on, and that is why I say that $0 marketing was few dollar marketing. That is very important, because those are the basics with which you started and came till here. So don't lose that just because now there is ample money. Use that ample money to build that structure, and also finding out bigger market for yourself. So for example, people who are reaching out on internet, surfing for this particular product, how do you reach to these people? How do you personalize? All the strategies now you can adopt just because now you have money. So building campaigns, paid campaigns, and search campaigns, investing there would yield a lot of money. Invest instead of just going on a branding drive, which may not yield a huge result.
Yeah. So basically, as you grow, be more structured, have a thought running through the entire process, And instead of doing ad hoc things, try to be more pre-planned and not going with the flow, rather planning the flow. It looks more like that, right?
One thing which I missed was build a marketing operations team. It might
Hmm.
feel, what's the need, but just like you have your HR, you have your finance team who form the basics of whole business. Similarly, marketing operations team keeps you in control of everything, right? Your data, your performance, and also where you are spending the budgeting. All that can be controlled in a very good way if you have a good structured marketing operations team to take control. So that's very important. So if you are reaching that stage, start investing in a good operations team who would be able to handle everything for you, and let the teams which are into performance marketing, demand gen, let them do their work, but let them do it more seamlessly and not worrying about where the data is flowing, what the structure is, how the tech is working. At least those parts can be handled by the operations team.
This is very relevant advice because I don't see many startups even thinking about having a marketing ops team. They are
No,
so engrossed with lead and brand that ops always takes a back seat.
yes.
So that's a very valid point. Thank you for bringing that up, Natasha.